Today we're going to be talking about the difference between good and great wide receivers. So how this video will go, you guys, is we're going to talk about some traits, some things that good wide receivers do, and then we're going to talk about some things that great wide receivers do that will make these topics a little bit, better, more improved, a little bit more advanced, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about that all good wide receivers are able to do is that is when they are running routes where it requires them to drop their hips, like hitches, curls, comebacks, digs. If you got to drop your hips on a dig, what they're able to do is they're able to sell vertical and drop on a dime. So on a dime, I mean, you're running your route, you're maintaining your stride, you're maintaining good body language, good speed, and you're just able to drop your hips right away. You want your hips to be violent because the more violent you drop with your hips, the quicker you drop your hips, the faster we're going to get out of the break. Now, to be able to do that, you guys, you almost want to think your hips are going straight into your feet. Like I'm running a route, I want my hips to go into my feet. And the quicker we drop, like I said, gives the DB less time to react, and it will get us out faster. But there are certain aspects of that hip drop that good wide receivers don't do, that great wide receivers do, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Now also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver or a quarterback and would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we're going to be coming out to 15 different cities across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camp. So guys, check out that very first link in the description below if you would like to train with us when we are coming to a city near you. Guys, all of these camps last year, we sold them out within the first 2 to 3 months, and we had to turn away a lot of people. So if you want to come to one of these camps, guys, make sure you sign up at that very first link in the description below. We're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Seattle, Washington. They'll be heading out to Chicago, Illinois, Las Vegas, Nevada, Newark, New Jersey, Birmingham, Alabama. They'll be heading out to Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and Los Angeles, California. So guys, want some more information? Again, very first link in that description below. Now, what great wide receivers do when it comes to the top of the route when they are dropping their hips is they're able to eliminate extra and wasted steps with something called a pivot and hook method. So let's use a comeback route, for example. Let's say I got the quarterback over here to my left. I got to run a 15 back to 12-yard comeback towards the sideline this way, right? So great wide receivers can go all the way up to 15, or good wide receivers, excuse me, and can drop their hips, but when they drop their hips, it might take them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they're out of the break, right? And those extra steps when you're facing a very high level or talented DB can allow them to react, drive on the ball, and that decreases the separation I have. So let's say I'm dropping on my inside foot. This is what great wide receivers do, is that they drop in the break, they snap down, drop their hips, but their second step is concerned with getting their hips out of the break. So they snap, second step pivots, that makes their third step hook, so now they can drive off that third step, and they eliminate 2 to 3 extra or wasted steps. So great wide receivers, you guys, can eliminate wasted time at the top of the break. Now, something that good wide receivers do off the line of scrimmage when they are facing press is that they can get separation. They have very, very good technique off the ball. Let's say, for example, I have a DB who's inside shade press, and I have to run a slant route, right? When I run my slant route, I could take off and I could take 3 hard steps at that DB's outside shoulder. He might think that I'm running a fade. I put the brakes on, I slip under him, and I get open. Good wide receivers know what to do off the line of scrimmage and know how to execute it. But something that great wide receivers can do is pair their releases together, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Now, like I mentioned, great wide receivers know how to pair their releases together. So we're going to talk about how great wide receivers can pair their releases in that slant versus inside shade press example that we just talked about, right? So let's say I have a DB who's inside shade press and I have to run a slant. A release that you could also use, remember how I said you want to take 3 hard steps at his outside hip and shoulder? That's called a diamond release because it looks like the pattern of like a diamond at that 45. Now, diamond release is tough to pair with another release. It's tough to pair with another route with a slant and a fade. You always want to make your slant look somewhat like a fade. So what great receivers do, and you see guys like Davante Adams, Justin Jefferson do this exact type of stuff, but let's say I have inside shade press, I still want to attack his outside shoulder and hip, but let's say I use something called the slide release. So I slide to the outside, which is like a patient shuffle. You take this first step with your front foot, it's like a jab step, and you push off of it, slide, give a move to the outside, DB jumps, and then we cut underneath. So how I can pair that to my fade with the same tempo, the same angle, the same speed, is I could use a fade. If let's say I have to run a fade route, same inside shade press. Look, I slide, DB's seen this before, then I take off and go. Or I could do it vice versa. I could slide, go, DB's seen that before, slide, crossover, and run the slant. So great wide receivers, you guys are able to pair their releases together. Now let's talk about catching, you guys. Something that good wide receivers are able to do when they're throwing like a deep pass over the shoulder is that they are able to track the ball with their eyes very well. This is what good wide receivers do. So ball's thrown over the shoulder. You guys, whenever you're catching an over the shoulder pass, you want to see the football make contact with your hands. A lot of times when wide receivers drop the ball on an over the shoulder passes, they're peeking upfield. They track this ball in, but when it hits their hands, they're looking up. So you need to make sure that you see that football hit your hands. Now, something that great wide receivers do on that over the shoulder passes have a concept called late hands, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Now also, fellas, if you're a receiver and you guys would like a daily training schedule to follow to work on your skills, your route running, your press releases, your catching, check out that second link in the description below for our elite wide receiver training package, you guys. It's 8 weeks of wide receiver on-field drills and 8 weeks of wide receiver gym exercises. So guys, check out that second link in the description below if you want some more information on our elite wide receiver training package. Now, when that ball is thrown over the shoulder, you guys, and you have a DB who's right on your hip, you do not want to show your hands early and catch this thing above chest level. That concept is called late hands. So whenever you have a DB who's on your hip, he's not running with us, looking for the ball, playing us, looking for the ball. That's how he's going to get lost, and we're going to be able to easily separate from him. He's going to be playing us, more specifically our hands. So if I'm running a fade route and I'm showing my hands up here, he knows exactly where to punch the ball as soon as he sees that ball start to make contact with my hands, and that's what can help DBs get more PBUs, a pass breakup. So we want to be late with my hands. Trust your eyes, you guys. Ball's thrown over the shoulder. I want to catch this thing chest level, show my hands late so that DB doesn't have time to react. I can quickly put it away and be more consistent downfield.